One of the most common debates you're going to see nerds having in a comic book store is which characters or character is the face of a franchise. And most recently, that debate has taken the form of the Mount Rushmore debate online. And I see these everywhere. Basically, every single comic book YouTuber or TikToker I follow has done a version of this at some point. I see DC ones, I see Marvel ones, I've seen Star Wars ones. And honestly, this is probably one of my favorite nerd debates that I have with my friends. And the overweight narcissist with low-level Asperger's at my local comic book shop.
Loneliness and cheeseburgers are a dangerous mix.
And today we're doing the DC Comics Mount Rushmore. And out of all of the videos I've seen and all the debates that I've had with my friends, DC Comics is the one that I think I have the most fun with, and the one that intrigues me the most. And if this video does well, I'll most likely come back and do a Marvel Mount Rushmore and a Star Wars Mount Rushmore. Thought about doing a Breaking Bad Mount Rushmore, other series or universes that intrigue me. I'll probably come back and do them. And like I said, I've seen lots of these videos on TikTok. And honestly, even though it's kind of cool seeing these videos all around, I disagree with like 90% of them. Some of them do pretty good, but others I'm like, why the fuck is Martian Manhunter on your DC Mount Rushmore list? And even though this is my personal opinion on the Mount Rushmore list, I tried being as unbiased as possible, and I think I succeeded. And honestly, even though, again, this is my list, I do think this is the definitive list. You might be able to argue differently for the last character, you maybe like let me know in the comments, but we'll get to him. But honestly, I really do think that this is the definitive DC Comics Mount Rushmore list. And the first person on that list is Superman. Duh. Now, even though this is fucking obvious, I've actually seen people leave out Superman on their DC Mount Rushmore list before, which is ridiculous. Superman is the first superhero. He's the first DC character. Without Superman, you would not have 90% of the superheroes that we have today. If Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster did not lay that groundwork back in 1938, you would not have some of the most iconic superheroes. Fuck that. The most iconic characters that we have today. You can kiss your precious Spider-Man, goodbye. You can kiss your precious Wonder Woman, goodbye. You can kiss all the fucking Superman clone characters, goodbye. Sentry, Omni-Man, Blue Marvel, Hyperion, fucking Homelander. Superman is literally the template for superheroes. Without Superman, you don't have superheroes. Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster started the genre with Superman. I honestly don't want to spend too much time on Superman because it's obvious. It's fucking Superman. Now, I've seen a lot of people say that Superman is the face of superheroes and just the genre in general, but Batman is the face of DC Comics. And I think if you are the literal face of superheroes, then you're probably also the face of your universe as well. However, I do mildly agree with this statement. Now, Batman debuted only a year after Superman, but Batman brought in another genre itself into the superhero genre. While Superman comics were more like happy-go-lucky fun, always gets the bad guy, not really any murder, and if there was murder, it was pretty censored or like more alluded to. Batman was just dark as hell. Now, even though the character now has a strict no-kill rule, he originally did fucking just straight up shoot people. Now, because of that groundwork that Bob Kane and Bill Finger laid, some of the most popular characters in the superhero genre today are pretty dark. We got characters like Wolverine, the Punisher, Daredevil, all inspired by Batman. Batman showed that a superhero doesn't need to just be like, hello, citizens, I am here to save the day and save a cat out of the tree. Sometimes it's just fucking crazy people driven by vengeance. Batman is undeniably a cultural phenomenon. Every single kid probably has a lunchbox or backpack with a Batman symbol on it, and every middle-aged adult probably has a Batman t-shirt or Batman underwear in their wardrobe. You won't get caught dead with fucking Superman underwear, but Batman underwear is cool. Batman was so popular that DC Comics is literally named after the comic book series that Batman first appeared in. He definitely deserves to be on the Mount Rushmore of DC Comics characters. Often in fiction and just, well, anything, there's something called the Holy Trinity, and that is basically a good counterpart to the Mount Rushmore debate. And the undisputed Holy Trinity of comics is, of course, Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. Yeah, just in case you didn't know, Wonder Woman's pretty fucking popular. Although she's not as popular as Superman and Batman, and she's not even the first female superhero, she was the first good one. Yeah, even though she wasn't the first female superhero, William Moulton Marston really did pave the way for future female superheroes to come. He may have created her because of a bondage fetish, but we're not going to talk about that today, all right? Regardless of the motives of creating Wonder Woman, she very quickly became a cultural phenomenon. Not only was she popular with a lot of women and got a lot of young girls into comics, she was surprisingly really popular with men as well. That was one of the difficulties before Wonder Woman actually getting actual female superheroes that weren't just sidekicks or side characters in a comic or a love interest. It just seemed that audience at that time wasn't really interested in something like that. Wonder Woman broke that mold. She had all the classic characteristics of a female character at that time. She was compassionate, loving, smart, but she could also kick your fucking ass. Some of the best characters in fiction right now that are women probably wouldn't exist without Wonder Woman, especially if you look at Marvel. Characters like Captain Marvel, which, okay, let's be honest, the movie version isn't very good, but the comic book version is really good, and a lot of people love that character. She wouldn't exist. I would go as far as to say characters like Jean Grey, Wanda Maximoff, Natasha Romanoff probably wouldn't exist without Wonder Woman. She has become a staple of DC Comics, and I'd argue she is the most popular female character of all time. Right next to Superman and Batman, she's DC's bread and butter. Whenever you need to make a little bit of money, throw Wonder Woman in a comic. Make a new Wonder Woman series. And even though she only has 2 movies, one that's pretty good and one that's just fucking god-awful.
I need you to give me the stone! What happened to it?
She still has a pretty good TV show, and I think the fact that she's not as prevalent in the film industry as, say, Superman and Batman, and the fact that she's still really, really popular, I think shows a lot. Now, those first 3 aren't really hot takes from what I can tell. I've seen a lot of these Mount Rushmore lists, like I said before. Usually they come out with these 3 and a hot pick at the end. So it was really hard to find somebody that I felt represented DC more than any of the other characters that exist in the lore. I've seen a lot of people put Barry Allen Flash on there, which I think is a fair pick. I've seen Green Lantern be put on there. I've even seen Robin on there, which again, I think those 2 are a really good pick. The reason they're not on this list is, I would argue, there are different versions of those characters that are arguably more popular and favored in the fandom. For example, Flash hasn't always been Barry Allen. Originally, it was Jay Garrick, and even then, I think most people would probably prefer the Wally West version of the Flash, me being one of those people. Same thing with Robin. There have been multiple Robins throughout the years. Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne. Superman has basically always been Clark Kent. Batman has always been Bruce Wayne, and Wonder Woman has always been Diana Prince. Not only that, the designs of these characters have stood the test of time, unlike Flash and Robin. Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman have basically looked the same throughout their entire existence, but look at the Jay Garrick Flash and the Barry Allen Flash. So I really had to think which character from DC Comics is the same character and kept his popularity throughout the years. And I landed on a villain, arguably the biggest supervillain of all time. I'm of course talking about Condiment Man. Now I know, hot pick. Condiment Man isn't very popular with a lot of people, but in the comic industry, for comic fans, he's really popular. He's basically kept his design throughout the entire years, and it's always been the same character. Okay. Well, yeah, it's the Joker. Look, as far as iconic characters in DC and what they've done for the industry, the Joker's a no-brainer for me. Joker is my favorite villain of all time. And the reason being is because he's not sympathetic. He doesn't really have any noble motives. He's not misguided. He's just fucking crazy. I feel like there's this obsession with modern entertainment that we always got to make the villain those things. We always got to make them sympathetic and their motives need to be noble, which is cool. I really like when they do that, but sometimes I like an ambiguous character where you don't know his motives. You don't know why he's crazy. He's just batshit. No pun intended. And his popularity has stood the test of time. I've seen people say that Joker is the most popular villain of all time. Now, I would argue Darth Vader is, but there is a very good argument for the Joker. I really do think that right next to Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, the Joker is the fourth most popular character in DC Comics. Nobody really knows Wonder Woman's arch nemesis. Some people know Superman's arch nemesis, but everyone knows who Batman's arch nemesis is. Batman and the Joker are referenced in pop culture all the time. I'm sure you've heard the expression or something along the lines of, you're my Batman to my Joker, or you're my Joker to my Batman, whatever. This rivalry has also stood the test of time, in my opinion. I think a lot of times in comics and fiction, certain rivalries kind of get stale after a while, but somehow DC has found a way to consistently keep Batman and the Joker fresh. I think he's the greatest villain of all time. I think he's one of the best characters in DC Comics, and that's why I'm putting him at my number 4 spot. Wow, you made it to the end of the video. You deserve a round of applause. Yeah, let me know what you thought of my Mount Rushmore list in the comments below. Give me your own personal list. Tell me why you disagreed, all that. Make sure to like and subscribe. And like I said, if this video does well, I will come back and do a Marvel one. I'll do an Image Comics one. I'll probably just do like a comics Mount Rushmore just in general. Also, my 24-hour live stream celebrating 4,000 subscribers is this weekend. So make sure you tune in. Join the Discord for updates. Just in case anything changes, you will be notified there. Follow me on my social media. I'll probably update you guys there as well. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.